Hello, hello, hello. It's Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Successfully. Successfully is an elite accountability practice, and so that makes me your personal professional butt kicker. I am so excited to be here. Like, happy Halloween. If you celebrate, if you don't, that's cool too. So, I had this whole vision that I was going to be in full regalia costume stuff. And then I realized that ain't nobody got time for that. It was just one of those things where I was like, I'm gonna opt out. I'm gonna opt out. So just consider this my costume. I am an all I today I am a really prepared coach. Let's So welcome to the Platinum Effect. We're all about creating and selling high ticket coaching programs. We really like to. This community is to serve newer coaches and even some of our coaches that have been in business for a while but haven't really hit that scale that they're looking for. We're super excited and really want to build programming around the idea of getting you 20 clients in 12 months or less. And so, if you're new here, I'm Keita Williams. I am the founder and chief strategist of Successfully. So excited to see you. Welcome, 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 welcome. Happy Halloween. And so, I wanted to kind of kick off with some really quick announcements. And so, first of all, I want to say, um, I know it's not quite November, but we're like a few hours away from it being November. Let's be honest. We're a few hours away from it being November. And so I wanted to kind of take a little bit of time in the next couple weeks to really talk about the numbers. So November is all about the numbers. And what do I mean by that? I think that as we stretch and grow our businesses, there is a point where it really is a numbers game. And so I want to talk to you about the numbers that matter, the things that you really should be focusing in on, and really the best uses of your time. And so that's what our whole next few weeks is going to be covering around just around the numbers, especially if you are trying to build that six-figure coaching practice and beyond. You really need to understand how this works and really understand your personal numbers and what moves the needle for your business. And so I first want to start with some vanity numbers. I first the spooky vanity numbers. I want to talk through what I consider vanity numbers. And I don't want you to think that I am anti social media or that I'm anti website or that I'm anti podcast or I'm anti blog or I'm anti any of those things. What I want you to really understand is how all of that works in your ecosystem. Okay. So before we get into that, I do want you all to watch this space. I want you to hold time in your calendar because we're going big. December 13th, we're doing a very special event for our coaches that are looking to scale. So stand by. We'll have more details around that. So just kind of circle it on your calendar for right now and know that we'll be sharing the details. We'll be doing some really special planning sessions to help you prepare for your best year yet. Okay. So now announcements out of the way. Let's talk about the spooky, scary vanity numbers. Okay. So picture it. It's about 5 years ago. And I just remember saying things like, as soon as my social media following hits 10,000, once I get 10,000 followers, my business is going to take off. Once I have a huge email list, huge newsletter list, my business is going to take off. As soon as I get 100,000 plus downloads of my podcast, my business is going to take off. Once I hit 10,000 page views a day or whatever, my business is going to take off. And there were all these vanity metrics that I was watching, and I was over rotating. I would spend hours and hours and hours agonizing about social media posts and trying to match the perfect picture with the perfect caption. And I would spend hours of time hours of time writing show notes, hours of time promoting, hours of time trying to get guests, hours of time writing, hours of time, and and it was like little engagement, little interaction. Um, Very frustrating to put all that time and energy to not see the needle move. And yeah, it was pretty. I mean, it was some pretty good looking stuff. If when I go back and look at it, I'm like, yeah, it wasn't so bad. We've matured, but like, it wasn't so bad. And so I want, if you have heard yourself saying these things, if you have heard yourself saying, if I had more followers, or when I get more followers, or when I have a bigger newsletter, when I start this podcast, or when I get my blog going, when I, create all of this content, then my business will be successful. Then I'll get clients. If you have had that conversation with yourself, I want to just tell you that to an extent, social media has a place, and know that it's part of the marketing pie. So when you think about building your business, understand that it's a pie. And so there are slices of the pie that will help with your lead generation, that'll boost your visibility, that will help you establish yourself as an expertise. And you don't isolate one slice of pie. You have to have the whole pie, right? And so I think that's what a lot of us don't understand, is that it's a piece of a larger pie. So we have to create an ecosystem, right? And so if you're spending all of this time on social media and you're not getting any wiggles, it's because it's just a slice of the pie, right? And so also it takes time. It takes time. Like, I'm not an influencer. I don't consider myself, maybe micro influencer, maybe teeny tiny influencer. Maybe I influence 5 people that I'm around. I don't know. I don't necessarily consider myself an influencer, but what I do know is that it takes consistency. It takes like a for real strategy. It's not happenstance that those things happen, or even if you're using this as part of your marketing ecosystem to grow your coaching practice, it still takes consistency. It still takes time to build. It's more than a notion, right? And so I want you to just lean into that. And so if you have said to yourself, that you're feeling overwhelmed, and so you get yourself out in that deep water where, like, now creating content has all this extra weight on it and you can't stick with it, or you do really well one week and then you don't post for weeks and weeks on end, I just want to assure you again, you can build a successful business without having a big footprint, without having a big newsletter list, without having the shiny website. You could scale into all those things. I'm not saying stop. I'm just saying that it is not an indication of the success or failure of your business. It is part of a larger pie. It is a piece of the puzzle. It is not the whole picture. Okay. And so, one thing I want to suggest to you when we're thinking of like three really quick things to keep in mind when you're thinking about these vanity numbers, when you make up in your mind that you have to have 1 million followers before you're going to see any big movement in your business, or you have to have so many downloads, or you have to have you have to post so many stories and so many reels, and you have to go viral. um, that yes, keep moving towards that goal, but also let's focus in on what really matters, right? And so the first thing I want to say when it comes to these vanity numbers, that oftentimes, sometimes we're making it up, but most of the time, sometimes we're making up what we feel like would be a measure of success, right? Sometimes we're making up what that benchmark is. Other times it's because we're comparing ourselves to other people, right? So we may be comparing ourselves to someone in our space. We may be comparing ourselves to other coaches. We may be comparing ourselves to social media influencers. We may be comparing ourselves to thought leaders. We may be comparing ourselves with folks who have a whole marketing team, right? Who have a whole team of experts working with them. And so I want to suggest to you that to avoid that comparison piece, because sometimes that's where we're coming up with these numbers, is based on, well, so and so has this many followers on Instagram, or so and so has gotten reel had a million views, I could do that too. Or feeling less than because we're comparing ourselves to someone who has a different experience than us, right? So me comparing myself to someone who has 10 years of experience as a content creator before they became a coach, they're going to have a different skill set than me, right? Or comparing myself to someone who literally has a marketing team that sits behind them, that they have a team of 5 other people working on this. That's not a head to head. That's not apples and oranges. That's like chicken and waffles. Although they go good together. But you know what I mean? It's not a comparison. It's not a comparison. And so if you find that you're find that you're distracted by what you're seeing from your contemporaries or similar coaches in the space, mute them. Mute them. You don't have to follow them. You don't have to participate, right? If it makes you feel like your business isn't on track or that you are inadequate in some ways, that you're inadequate in some respects, stop following along. Stop participating. That's part of the double-edged sword of social media. It makes us compare our lives to other people's experiences, up to their very curated way of sharing what's going on, right? Because this is curation at a certain extent. So, you know, I don't want you to fixate on what other folks are doing, because a lot of that, once I get here, or once I have all these downloads, once I have all of these followers, once I have all of these group members, then it'll be successful. That's because you're comparing it to someone else, right? Or you're looking at someone else's testimonials and you're going, I can do that, right? And so let's stop that comparison, right? So then the second thing I would say, if you're finding that these vanity numbers are haunting you, you see how I tied it into to Halloween? If these vanity numbers are haunting you, and what's not showing up for you on social media, what's not showing up for you with your open rate on your newsletter, what's not showing up for you, I want you to really think about this little fun fact, that there were so many businesses that are still around today that were built before the digital age, that were built before social media, that were built before the World Wide Web, that were built, that were built long before, we had all of these different ways of connecting with one another. And so I want you to think about, what's your old school approach? Like, who can you actually call? Who can you even send a simple email to? I mean, that's old school, but you know what I mean? Like, have you written a handwritten thank you note? Focus on building the relationships. Have you gone through all of your previous clients and touched base with them, right? Have you worked your personal network? Have you gotten through your first degree, your second degree, and your third degree of your network before you launch a complicated funnel with marketing campaign, with ad buys associated with it? Have you done all of those things? Right? So focusing on building those relationships, because it has been done. It has been done. Empires have been built before TikTok. And they will continue to be built regardless of what the latest and greatest platform is. So I don't want you to take the human connection out of this, right? And so I'm going to share a little more about this, but I had someone send me kind of send me a note like, oh, I went viral. One of my videos went viral, but I didn't get any clients from it. And I'm like, well, how many people did you talk to? Like, did you book any consultation calls? Did you send anyone a message like, thanks for liking my video, or thanks for your comment? I'd love to chat more about this with you. Here's a link to book a call. Our job as coaches, especially when it comes to and in most businesses, our job is to create conversations, right? To have those conversations, build those relationships, because people buy from folks they like. So they have to know, like, and trust you before they make a big decision or a big investment in your business. And that doesn't matter if it's jewelry or a five-figure coaching package. They have to know, like, and trust you, right? And so the way that you get someone to know, like, and trust you is to build a relationship. So so that's why I would say, like, stop the comparison, focus on building those relationships. Know that entire business empires have been built with the yellow pages. Okay. And some gumption. So we don't have any excuses. We have all of these different tools at our disposal. We have no excuse to not build relationships. And then finally, when we're thinking about these scary, spooky vanity numbers, where we're coming up with all these reasons why our business is not successful, or why things are lower than they were before, I want you to check the consistency factor, right? So I want you to parallel track your consistency. So from the space of these relationships that you're building and these personal contacts, are you consistently connecting with people on a one-on-one uh connection, and a DM, a text message, an email, a phone call? Are you consistently doing that piece? And then are you consistently connecting with a larger audience through your content, right? So in either case, if you aren't doing either one of those things consistently, or you're doing one consistently without the other, your results are not your results don't lie there, right? That lack of consistency is going to show up. If you post every day for 1 week and then you don't do anything for 2 weeks, that impacts the way you show up on these platforms. We don't control when our potential clients say yes, when they sign up for coaching, when they're ready to move forward. We control our connecting with them. We control getting in front of them. We control following up with them. We control on sending them proposals. We control showing up prepared and ready for a consultation call. We control exercising powerful listening and asking high questions for high responses on those consultation calls. We control that, right? We don't control when they say yes, but we control how we show up. And one of the ways that we can show up and build that rapport and build those relationships is to be consistent. If you even think of like your dating life, if for all my single ladies, if he doesn't call you consistently and he doesn't text you consistently and you don't see him all the time, that's not your boyfriend, right? Like, that's not your beau, your boo, your bae. And so yeah, so like, really think about that consistency piece. So when we're thinking about those spooky, scary vanity numbers, and we think that we need to have these really large numbers to move the needles, I want you to really think about, how many conversations did I have today, right? Rather than how many likes did I get today, how many conversations about your business have you had today, right? And really think through that. So stop comparing yourself to other folks in your space. You don't know their story. You don't know their background. You don't know what sort of team they have. You don't know what sort of training they might have. Um focus on building those relationships, and know that if you're consistent in both cases, where you're consistently building relationships and consistently having conversations and consistently showing up when it comes to your content, you'll start seeing results, right? And so that's easier said than done, but I will say that rather than trying to force yourself to post every day, start at twice a week. then move up to 3 times a week and maybe 4 times a week. Review what the data is telling you and tweak your approach from there. Right? This doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be laborious, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming, right? And so, if you need support, if you are feeling overwhelmed, like if you feel like in your business right now, you're doing a lot of busy work, but you're not seeing a lot of results, then I'm going to say to you, this is a perfect opportunity to have coffee with me. Have a virtual coffee with me. I like a mocha with mocha oatmeal latte, right? Let's have a virtual coffee and let's talk through what you're currently doing, what your results look like, and what we can do to shorten the distance between you and the cash, right? Because as business owners, while we want to serve the broader community, your sole function is to make money. And so if you're finding that you're doing a whole bunch of work and not making a lot of money, let's have a conversation. And you can grab time with me at successfully.com/call. You can reach out to our personal concierge, Lucille. Lucille, wave your hand in the community. If you're looking for resources, we're here to serve, 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 and we're excited to see all that you'll accomplish in the coming weeks and months. And no, just because we're heading into November, it's not too late to make this a great year. It's not too late to take action, to stop overthinking, to get out, um, to get out of your own way and get started, or restart, or grow. There's plenty of time to do that. And so reach out if you need anything. Once again, I am Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Successfully. Let's get after it.